Let me introduce myself. I'm,
Dr. James Ansel Martin, valedictorian, University of Chicago.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Project 31 for 2023, where I watch 31 horror films in 31 days of October, and I'll give you my review for each and every single one of them. Today, October 10th, I will review the movie Nefarious.
Chose you because I need you. Do something for me, CC. You're gonna write my story.
Nefarious is a movie that came out early this year, and it came with high recommendation from people I trust, but I didn't manage to watch it until I started this project. However, it is not your typical horror film. In fact, if I had to categorize it, I would put it in the psychological thriller category. This movie starts with a sort of prologue as we see Dr. Alan Fisher leave his office to go on an elevator, go to the rooftop, and jump off. But before he does that, you see him adjust his diploma, but for some odd reason, it keeps readjusting sideways and then straightening out back again. In the next scene, we see a man traveling to a prison. As we see the prison, we hear the radio report about an execution, how it happened, and who are the people involved. We quickly learn that the man who's traveling to the prison is Dr. James Martin, who's taking over for Dr. Fincher's task of determining whether Edward Wayne Brady is mentally fit to be executed. Dr. Martin sits in front of the man he knows as Edward to start his evaluation, but encountered something odd. Edward professes his name to be Nefarious, and he is actually a demon possessing Edward, and he was the one that made Edward kill those people that ultimately led to his execution. Nefarious confronts James, telling him stories and information that a person in jail won't have access to in order to convince him. In fact, as soon as the good doctor sat in his chair, the battle of wits between him and this Nefarious character has begun.
Then you already know he's a master manipulator, absolute genius.
The more the movie progresses, the more we are left unsure if this is a real demon, or is it Edward being a master manipulator, or of course, if it's a complete nutbar with a split personality that is not even accountable for his own actions. Nefarious taunts Dr. James, telling him he chose him specifically for the task of signing the dotted line, and it is all a part of this big plan to serve as master in the fight against man, the favorite creation of God. It's been a long time since I watched a film that used minimal sets, minimal action, and minimal effects to create an absolute gem of a movie. The character work in this film, mainly by Sean Patrick Flanery, who I loved in Boondock Saints, to take a complex role of seemingly split personality individual and portray both sides so differently and making the turn on the dime so effortlessly. Because this is current year, Flanery will never receive an Oscar nomination for this role, let alone a win. But if an actor actually deserves a nomination, this is it.
Did you really think that poser could help you? I'm still here, James. I'm not going anywhere. You still have to deal with me.
You're being irrational.
I am the most rational being you will ever meet.
From moment to moment, we are on the seat of our pants, wanting to find out if this demon is really a demon. Is James really fighting his own soul and the soul of mankind? Or is it all an elaborate ruse in order to escape execution? Jordan Belfi does a pretty good job playing off Flanery as the formidable foil, Dr. James Martin. I thought the casting hit the mark because not only Belfi does a great job with his dialogue, he also has that Superman look. The fact that he was draped in a sleek blue suit just emphasized that fact for me. The bulk of the movie is just two men talking, one trying to convince the other of real facts of the world, and the other trying to determine if the guy in front of him is telling the truth, lying, or completely out of his mind. Each of those choices has a different outcome that has serious real-world repercussions. I highly recommend you watch this movie. I was expecting a horror movie, and I half expected a more elaborate possession-style movie about 7 minutes into it, but this is something else entirely. Don't expect every question answered. I can spoil the ending for you, but I don't want to. I want you to enjoy the ride as much as I want you to contemplate the ending of the ride. I thank you for watching. If you're watching this review and this is not the Halloween season, please check out the other reviews I've done in the past, or check out our Saturday show, The Real McCoy Podcast, where we dive in much deeper into these amazing movies.